Hey, everyone. We're back with another episode. It's Pull on the Call. I'm Cris Rivers.
And I'm Mandy Mac.
Yes, and we are here with Salis Charming. I always mess it up.
No, you said it right. You're good.
Yay!
Yes, Salis Charming. Hi, everybody, with the Pole Circus. And I
Yeah.
absolutely adore you guys. And you guys were one of the first podcasts I ever did. So you popped my podcast cherry.
I love it.
Right? I love it so much.
Yes, thank you so much for being here for our episode on healthy competitions in pole studios and in the pole industry. I'm excited.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. I think this is a super important topic for not only just studio owners, but also students and everyone around, just so you can make your spaces a little bit more safe and inviting, and healthy competition makes us all improve. So um, let's do
Definitely.
it.
Would you
All
like me to start or who's starting?
Right.
right. Some of the reasons why we're bringing this up is because of things we've heard from other pole dancers. As you know, we share stories and we've heard a lot, and we've heard things about studios not letting teachers teach in other places, not letting students take classes in other places. Have y'all, do y'all agree that this is happening, unfortunately?
Yeah, for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. And what I guess what blows my mind about the whole situation is, say somebody only teaches pole, right? There's only so many studios available. So how are you going to tell that person that they can only teach at Studio A and they can't go to B, C, and D? Like how are they going to make ends meet? How are they going to pay their bills? It's just, I don't think it's right to limit anybody. And the same thing with students, all because somebody is learning at one studio, maybe they like, a certain instructor at a different studio, and they should be able to go back and forth without feeling like, oh, if I go to another studio, like, they have to like tiptoe, hide.
Right? It's so bizarre, and things you never think of, but as you have a studio, you come across these things, and it's just, I don't know, like, I guess communication amongst studios um is always going to be like the answer, and that will be like a way, an avenue to like continue some healthy competition, and rather than like trapping your teachers from making money, because that sucks. We all want to make a living doing what we
Yeah.
love, and if there's only one studio you're allowed to teach at, it's really hard to do that, like you said. um, and
Yeah,
at
I
first,
feel like, mhm.
I know when we first opened, we had some weird rules too, because I didn't really understand what healthy competition was either. And we kind of made it so that like teachers could teach at other studios, but you weren't allowed to teach the same content in the same month. But then over
Mhm.
time, like the tricks are out there. Um, Everyone's teaching them at all times, so it's not really like you can't stop people from doing anything. They're just going to do it, and um, yeah, it'll make them feel better if you don't have weird rules like that. So we took all of those rules away. Our teachers are now allowed to do whatever they want and teach wherever they want and be who they want to be. Um, and I feel much better about that. Um, and I hope everyone else does too.
Yeah, with my contract for my instructors, they were surprised when I specifically said that they're not tied to me. They can teach anywhere if they would like, same day, same time. It's
Yeah.
your problem, not mine. Um, I just feel like it kind of dampens the industry when, you're locking them in. And also, like, we're all creative individuals. We could teach different things, sexy, sultry could be, 6 o'clock, but then 8 o'clock someplace else, and yet it's not the same thing. The different place, a different vibe, they taught something else. I just feel like with creativity, it's kind of dampens everything when you tie it down. We're meant to be free.
And it's already so hard for us pole dancers to make a full-time living without other avenues. Why would we want to limit others even more so?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And like the students, I mean, all the studios are different anyway. Like you said, they all have different vibes. So you're not going to teach the same way in one studio that you teach in another studio. There might be more people in the class or less people in the class, or the poles might be shorter, taller, or any of those variables. So yeah, I just keep it open. Let your teachers teach wherever they want. And students won't like just go to one studio to take from that teacher. They'll go and follow that teacher wherever they go because they love them.
So we see.
Yeah.
What are some other things that we remember hearing? Because we've heard a lot. Anybody else want to bring anything up?
Well, I guess for me, what kind of blew my mind was that some studios in the area don't allow my instructors to take classes. And I'm very open and honest. So I contacted the studio and I'm like, hey, this person wants to take some classes there. She likes XYZ instructor. And they were like, oh, that's not a good idea. And I was like, wait, what? Why not? Like, you're literally turning down money. I don't understand, like, I feel like I messed up because I was honest and I called and I didn't want my instructor to have any issue. But say she would have just booked the class and showed up, like, would she really have turned her away? That would have been off. I don't know, what do you guys think about the scenario?
Right. I think I've definitely heard that scenario as well. And it is really frustrating. I believe perhaps the studios feel like the teachers, when they come into your studio, they're going to take what they've learned and steal it and bring and teach it at the
Run away
other
with it.
studio. Right. But again, like the tricks are available to everyone. So it's like, um, it's not like that. Yeah, I definitely feel like teachers should be allowed to take at other studios because it makes them more well-rounded as well. Um, yeah, that's how I feel about it.
And
Uh,
Chris, what do you think about the situation?
Um, I also think that we should let our teachers take in other places. Hopefully they take classes in our studio as well. I know sometimes time doesn't allow it, but we should it shouldn't hinder their education because sometimes a new teacher somewhere else can like say something that makes that connection and something they've been working on, or sometimes that teacher has a better understanding of their body than someone else. And do let me see. I'm not sure why why I think you said you messaged the studio, right? I'm not sure what made you message the studio. It would have been interesting to see like what you said, what would have happened if she just signed up and showed up. Would they have turned them away? I do
I
think
hope not. I don't know. Because then obviously they would have done that in front of other students, so it probably would have made them look bad. But at least they were honest with me and they did say, that since we're competition, that they weren't comfortable with us being there because we could take students, is what their reasoning was. And I'm like quoting this verbatim. So
I
so
understand.
yeah, I was shocked by that because we would never do that. Like that is
Yeah.
so like
Right.
wrong.
I
I
actually got fired from the first studio I was teaching at because we opened our studio, which was in a whole other state. But I guess the owner was concerned that I would be taking my students with me. But like it didn't make any
Oh
sense to me, and it really broke my heart because I was completely willing to teach at both and share, with all the communities. But that was probably my first instance of like, wow,
I
there's some unhealthy
that's
competition
so
going on.
sad.
I can understand why people do it. I don't think they should be doing it, but I think there are ways around it. Like I've been to studios where they know I'm a teacher because they've asked what level I'm at and they know who I am. Um,
Yeah.
they'll in the middle, in the beginning of class, say, if you teach or if you have other stuff going on, do not poach any of these students. You're here as a student. We deserve respect, and I am your instructor. I think that's perfectly okay to say that.
Yeah.
It's like you say, you're there as a student. You're not there to poach. If they happen to follow you on Instagram and then find out you're a teacher and sign up for a class, that's a whole different story.
Right. Yeah, I just feel like it's very it's like catty, like we're supposed to be uplifting each other. And you know what? The truth of the matter is, there is, I want to say, millions of people who haven't even heard about pole, especially in America. Like
Yes.
it is so underground. It's such a little niche. It's so taboo still.
Mhm.
Like when I even try to think, for example, another country like Australia, they have more pole studios than freaking Starbucks, okay? It's ridiculous.
True.
We're just not at that level. So there's plenty to go around, is my point. There really is.
It truly is. I don't know. I think platforms like this and other areas where we can talk about these things and share it, even if it's uncomfortable, is what we need.
Yeah,
Um,
Right.
how we make
but
things easier and learn. We talk about it and communicate these frustrations.
yes. Right. Maybe we should offer like maybe some suggestions if you have any. Like Cris was saying, the example of like when you go into take a class and maybe the students know that you are a teacher and perhaps they start talking about your teaching or your studio where you're from at the other studio. How do you deal with that appropriately as to not make it seem like you're trying to poach students?
I mean, the only way to appropriately is to kindly communicate that. Tell them, look, I know you can spot, but this isn't your class to spot. You're a student. Or look, I know you probably have amazing classes, but do that outside of here. Give them your Instagram. Let them find your business outside of here. Here, this is my business. There's respectful ways to do it. I feel like sometimes we like to keep things bottled up and we don't express those feelings because we don't want to hurt anybody. And it's all on how we relay the message.
And I also think, like, let's just hypothetically say, I go to a studio that's not my own, and a student comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, I know you own XYZ studio. Like, can you help me with this in the middle of class or something?" Because students do that all the time in regular classes to other students sometimes. I feel like you have to kind of be really aware of the fact that it's not your class. And you can kindly tell them, oh, Instructor Sherry, for lack of a better name, Instructor Sherry will help you out. I'm here as a student. I'd love to help, but it's not my class. Or maybe they come up and they're like, oh, where do you teach? I swear I saw you on Instagram. Be like, oh, maybe we'll talk about it another time, but I'm really here as a student, and let's look at the instructor, kind of, I guess, to deter it, so that, because it is true, if you start talking about your student, what you do, and you start spotting, then it's like, hey, what are you doing? So I can see that as an issue for sure.
Right. I think that's a really good way to handle it, just to if, people approach you in the class as a teacher, but you're a student, just remind them that you're a student.
Yeah,
You're a student.
I
Today I'm a
came here to
student.
learn.
Yeah. It's my day off. Leave
And
me alone.
Like,
it is very hard for us, though. I'm sure Cris can definitely relate too. It's hard to be a student because we don't have time, because it's just, Cris, you tell them how hard it is.
I mean, our bodies are just sometimes so tired from teaching and from everything else we're doing. When do we have the energy to be a student, get a really good workout, and then get our conditioning in? But Lord, whip time.
Right. And I take Chris's class all the time, and I have to corral myself into, like, I have to stop myself a lot because it's hard for me to not be a teacher in my studio just because it's like the space where I do teach. So I have to like constantly like remind myself that I'm a student. Like I, I can't like give tips in class or anything like that. I'm still learning.
Then
Yes,
I
it,
think
it
that
is
goes,
really difficult.
I think that goes
Yeah.
into thing because I think as teachers we should be confident in our ability that we should be able to welcome those tips. Yeah, definitely don't allow people to hijack your class, but sometimes tips that are offered even from you can help students that we didn't think about as an instructor. So um, I really feel like it's you should know how good you are. You are a pole instructor, you got certified, and be confident in your skills and don't let things like that bother you. Learn from it. Be like, you know what? Okay, shit, yeah, thank you. I'll remember that for next time I encounter this.
That's definitely a good point. I think it's harder too for owners because it's like our babies. And so we see something and we're like, ah, we want to fix it or we want to, correct it or whatnot. But at the end of the day, if we're there as a student, I think, we need to learn and be a student sometimes. I think it's part of our therapy, why we started this, you know?
100%. Right. And I want to talk to you also, like when I first started having like other teachers from other studios in my class, I was super intimidated because I would be like, what do I have to offer this amazing teacher in my class? But it turns out like uh, they've always left my class learning something because maybe you've offered like a new part of your warm up or like a new way into a trick. Um, so yeah, it's not like it's always like a mutually beneficial experience when teachers come to my class. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like, especially for me, because, I'm super honest and I'm not like really advanced and I'm not really flexible. I'm completely comfortable in my intermediate level. And so when I have, instructors and they're like, oh, so amazing and their flexibility and that, it is kind of like, oh, like, a little intimidating. But then I remember like we all have different things to offer. And for me, I have a dance background, so choreography comes really easy to me. And teaching choreography is what I like specialize in. So it's been interesting to see that even though there's different styles and different instructors, I can always help out and they always ask me for advice. And like you said, they always learn something, which is really nice. And I think that's what's so special about the industry is that there's so many different styles and avenues that we're always learning. Like you can never say like, I mastered, I don't know, full sport. I mastered exotic. Like that's not a thing. You're always going to be learning.
Yeah. Right. And there's been a few teachers too who I've taken their class and they were really good about expressing boundaries. They're like, um, you learned this in my class, but like, don't go out and teach it to someone else, like especially if it's their choreo. You don't want to take someone else's direct choreo, of course. And for me too, feel like when I go to a class and I learn something, I'm not going to go right away and teach it because I haven't mastered that yet. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I don't know the things that can go wrong. So I think that's also something to think about as well. Like a teacher's not going to sign up for your class out of spite or to steal. They're there to learn
Yeah.
from you. Yeah.
And
Unless they
something that
are.
I'm uh-oh. No, they're not. No, no. I lost my train of thought. Oh, it was it was no, I really did. Oh, bum bum bum. But what were we talking about? So we were talking about stealing choreography. Okay, that's what it was. So what I've learned about that is let's say, right, Mandy teaches something, and obviously she's the master at the craft of the combination that she's teaching. And then she teaches it to me. And the truth of the matter is, I'm gonna change it. There's no way that I'm gonna do it 100% the way she did it. She's more flexible than me. She has whatever it is. than I do. So I'm going to change it and make it my own. Like it's really hard to have someone teach you a choreo and you 100% do it the way they did it, unless like that's really what you want. Like you're going to spend months sometimes trying to do it exactly the way a certain pole star did it. And that's just too much energy, in my opinion. Like just make it your own.
Right. I love that you brought that up too, because when I teach choreo, I will tell my students all the time, take it, because you're absolutely right. They're working with their own body and it's always going to look different. They're always going to make it their own. Yeah, I think it's more beneficial to share, but I know a lot of some teachers don't like that. It's like it's okay. As long as you express your boundaries
Right.
during your class, yeah.
And I guess something I wanted to mention that came up for me when I was opening the studio was the whole concept of like me stealing students from other locations and whatnot. And it was very disheartening and very sad to me because, you know, I had two locations that I had taught for a long time. So if they become your family, first of all, so then you kind of get like disowned by them and it's a whole thing. But anyway, my point to the story is that I do an event, right? And I bring a stage pole and I'm marketing my studio and I have my instructors there and we're passing out lights. And then somebody says, oh, you know, your studio is a little too far for me. And what do? Well, I know this great place that's down the street from your house. And you know what? At the end of the day, that person was never going to come to my studio. So why not tell her about the other place that's right in front? So everybody wins. It's healthy competition. And we're marketing the pole industry because people don't know. A lot of people don't know that we exist. In America, at least, I feel like millions, millions don't know about pole. It's still very taboo, hush hush. Some people are scared to try it. So the more we're out there, the more we promote it and market it, really everybody wins. It really is true.
It is
Yes.
very true. And I think because it's so small in America, we all have the potential to be the pole stars of America in like 5 or 10 years.
Woo, woo.
Or like right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, we are all stars in our own way, okay?
Yes.
Over here, there's such still a potential untapped market in it, like so much to be done, so many people to reach. Uh, so what if you lose a person to another studio? You could gain five more. Who knows? It's really sad. There's 8 billion people in the world. Find a way to reach
Right.
them.
Yeah.
And then, for example, like on the flip side of that, I do have a studio who very supportive of me, and they got a party, and they were like, "Oh, you know, like it's more burlesque style. It's not really my thing. I know you're more showgirl. Like here, take it. Here's their number. Here's the date. Here's the time." I was like, "Really? Thank you. That's so nice of you." So, you know, there are certain studio owners that are supportive and it's good to see that because of, you know, the other people who may not be as supportive.
Right. I can remember there was a student who emailed and they were new to the area and they were just checking out the like our classes. And I always write like the surrounding studios and try to like let them know what's available in the area because there's not too much here. So yeah, just telling them about us is kind of like so limiting, especially you don't know where they came from. Maybe they came from a place that has many studios and then now they're here with just one studio. I'm not going to do that to them. Yeah, but we all have different things to offer. And like you said, that you had more like burlesque training. So that was awesome that they would refer them to you. And I think that all studios should do that because why would you take that party and give them like a not as good party as the one that you could have thrown because that's what they were actually looking for.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just I guess in my perfect world, we would all like come together and do like a Miss Pole USA or Pole USA for America, right? And all the studios would come together and we would all get along and like suck on lollipops. I don't know why I thought of lollipops. And drink some wine. I don't know. So,
Lollipops of togetherness.
oh no. So my mind went. Maybe I haven't had a lollipop in a while. I don't know what's happening here. But the point is that I would like us to all come together and have like a, whole USA moment. Would be really nice. Maybe it'll happen soon.
We're trying to do the Poe Awards and bring them all together.
Yes, I saw that. Super cool.
Because it's so important that we all come together, especially in such a taboo form of fitness. Like other people are already ostracizing us, putting their stigmas on us. We need to really stay together.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, talking about stigmas. So I have an instructor, right? And she was it booted out of her club because she, so I should say it's like we'll call it a book club because I don't want to like give it all away. So she's in a book club and they kicked her out because she's doing polls. So she's not like sophisticated enough for the club. And I was so shocked. And she was really sad about it. So yeah, we have too many things against us. So we have to like stand together, not apart.
I think another thing that should be said is why are people bad-mouthing each other and using names? Oh my goodness, so many of the post stars just talking so much crap about other people and like using their names. I'm like, why are you doing that? It must be nice to have so many followers and audience members and not care if they unfollow you and stuff to be able to say what you want.
No.
Classy.
Yeah, I just feel like it's very hurtful. And I feel like what goes around comes around. So I think it's better to try to make it positive than shed, so much negativity because it does come back to haunt you. I don't want that. No.
Right? Yeah, that literally happened to me. Like I said, when we first opened, we had several rules that we don't have anymore. And they were in place for like 2 years before another teacher from another area came over and she like took me aside and she was like, I need to talk to you about this because it's very apparent that there's some animosity going on and you know you need to figure it out. And so it took me a little while to like figure it out, but yeah, getting rid of the rules for the teachers at other studios and just like making it more of a safe place for everyone and for sharing and learning. And yeah, the communication opened up more, just things that I didn't realize I was doing that were making it seem like we were, I guess, not a bully, but like, keeping people out for whatever reason. And it's okay to make mistakes.
I
But
was just gonna say that. Yeah,
uh,
because I feel like people look up to studio owners, which is very flattering. But we're just human, and I am figuring it out every day. I don't know what the F I'm doing half the time, you guys. Like I am trying my best. So it's like if we make a mistake or something, like I feel like you're the same way. Just like talk to us, let us know, like we're not gonna bite your head off. We'll
right, I
definitely
had
talk
no
about
idea. I had no idea what it looked like from the outside because we were in our like little bubble and it was working fine for us, but it was not. Yeah.
it. And I think it's like I like to stress the whole everybody's different thing because if you look at it from that kind of angle, like it's hard for people to realize like, oh, you're gonna steal students or something. But it's like, no, like our studio specializes in this and your studio specializes in that. Or, there's sporty pole and there's Russian exotic and, there's all kinds of things. And I feel like each studio has their clientele. And I guess at the end of the day, for me, if it's not meant for you, you're not going to have it. So if it's meant for you, it's yours. That's it. Don't stress it.
Right? That's absolutely true. And like also not to take it personally when students go to another studio, it could have nothing to do with you. It could be just be like the schedule, or maybe they liked the chair that's at the other studio. Like sit in a chair that they like. I don't know. It could be anything. So it's never a personal thing.
It isn't. I
Yeah.
feel that's so important for especially new instructors, because I remember being a new instructor, I was always like, why aren't they coming back? What can I change? Or they do come back, but then they take a break. You have so many things going on in your mind, and you're right. Don't take it personal. I have students now returning who haven't been polling for like 2 years. It's just life. It's not you. Unless it is you, I hope they tell you.
If it's not you, we're going to stick with it's not you.
Right. Let's say it is you too, and you're that student and you're like, ugh, I'm never going back to that studio. Like maybe just think about that and try not to do that, because just because you had a bad experience doesn't mean that other people are, and it's not right to go on and on. Yeah, we all have a place.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess since obviously I'm brand new, we just hit our 6 month mark. We're like this tiny little infant baby. But we do have, some students from other studios who probably just, come once or twice and then that's it. We don't see them for a while. And then they come back 2 months later and we're like, oh, nice to see you back. And we actually have like one or two who hop around. Like we know that they go to all the studios in the area. And one of my instructors was like, oh, does that like bother you? And I'm like, no, why would it bother me? As long as you keep coming back. I mean, at the end of the day, they can go wherever they want. Like, I obviously cannot control them. And like Mandy was saying, it's nothing personal. Obviously, she likes the studio. She keeps coming back, but she also goes to the other studios. Why not? There's no harm in it.
Facts. Too funny. And can we talk about the competition among the pole men? Goodness gracious. What? It's so hard to get a comment, a like, a follow. The real masculine ones don't like our feminine content or vice versa. Like, goodness, can we all support each other as men?
Right. That's something I don't have experience with, but I've definitely heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been interesting. I feel like I have such a great reception from the women or transitioning to women, but like the cis men, and I think I'm fucking awesome, but the cis
You
men like do not like the little hint of flamboyancy, and it's frustrating.
I've definitely seen that too with the industry. I don't know. Like, I always kind of think like, is it they feel threatened? Is it competition? Are they like jealous? I don't know.
That's the thing.
Right. So let's talk about like competition though in general, because I feel like at first I was like, no, competition is bad. But in actuality, competition, as long as it's healthy, it makes us all grow. Because then
Yes.
we're learning from each other and sharing with each other and adding on to the things that are already there and exploring. And yeah, and there's no ownership of the things. It's just evolving. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like I said, since we're brand new, it's really interesting because I've been doing certain things with my marketing, and then like somebody will bring to my attention, oh, did you see, XYZ studio posted this a little after you posted this, and I was like, you know what? Good for them. If I'm inspiring them, and I'm helping make their studio better, that is like the biggest compliment. It really is. Like, good for them. And everybody's winning. The students are winning, the studio's growing. Why not? I'm like, good. That's awesome.
Right? You had the good idea.
Yeah. But I feel like it's important to like the whole reason that I got involved in any of this was really to inspire others. And it genuinely does make me happy when I see, the pole community thriving because I am madly in love with the pole community. So it's like my top love. Don't tell my husband.
It's funny. And I think people need to realize the importance of networking. Like, if it was not for networking, I don't think Pull on the Call would have grown as fast and as beautiful as it has. Just getting to know those people and making those connections. Thank you, Mændy Mac, for being brave with all that. It really does help. And if you push them away, it's just not going to look for you, good for you, boo boo.
Yeah. Right. I learned the most, especially from all of our interviews with studio owners. It really opened my eyes to a lot of things. And yeah, it's like I said before, the communication amongst studios and studio owners is really important, so that we can all evolve together and handle things together too. Because a lot of times there's issues and um, maybe there's solutions that the other studios have that you could use. Yeah.
And not even just with students, I think. I feel with pole businesses in general, like pole coaches, maybe even pole competitions in a certain aspect can help each other. And I think we all can help each other. Like, we just met why we pole, and we learned from them, and I'm sure she learned from us. That's how it should be.
Yeah, and I feel like it's also important to kind of realize that as instructors, as studio owners, and as members of the pole community, I feel like people are watching us, even if they don't want to come to the studio, even if they're too shy to take a class. They're on social media stalking us. And it's important that we set a good example, that we show people what we really are about, what it does mean to be a part of this beautiful community and not make it look catty, bad, and in any way because we want to put a good face forward.
Yes, I
Right.
feel so true. Like, I left my wretched ways because of pole on the call and everything. I'm like, I cannot be pulling off my earrings and putting the Vaseline and the rings on anymore.
Man, yeah. He's an upgraded version.
I do. I think
Oh,
it's true for like people who, like you said, we are an example, and I think a lot of times, like the pole industry is like on the forefront of things, just because we listen a lot more than maybe other industries do. And I find that when people come in from other, like maybe other disciplines of like martial arts, or maybe not martial arts, but like dance or other things, they come in and they expect that like competition feel, or like being secluded for whatever reason. But in pole, we're like all together. And sometimes it's hard for people to understand that or to break free from whatever background they came from. Me, like when I came into it, I was so surprised at how open and welcoming everyone was. Where I came from a dance background where it wasn't the healthiest, and there was lots of cliques, and you're either in or out, and I was always out, and trying to find my way, and that's why pole became my home. And then I ended up turning, when I first started this, maybe the studio into that harmful background that I had, and it took me a little while to learn. So, yeah, I'm really thankful for the pole community, and like I do think it is on the forefront, and everyone should be looking at us, other industries, other types of industries too.
yeah, and I also realize since it's such a niche that everybody knows everybody. Like it's very hard to kind of do something and not get noticed or not get recognized or, 'cause everyone knows everybody. There's not that many of us really, and there's not that many of us have been around for a while, because the industry is so new, at least in America. So I think that's very special because that means we have a lot of growing to do.
I know, it's so true. I can't wait to see where Pull on the Car and the Pole Circus is in 5 and 10 years.
I know.
Your fitness
I
and
have a
pole.
dream of having my own tent.
I
Like
was
my
going to ask
tent
you if you were going to
business.
do that this year.
I have been on a mission to find a tent. Actually, I've been trying to unite with the circus. Ideally, that way I don't have to rent a tent. So I'm trying, but so far nothing in the works. But when I do, everybody will know because it'll be a massive dream come true. But I can see it, you gotta like manifest it. So it's definitely in the future. Just don't have a date on it quite yet.
I cannot wait. That sounds like so much fun.
Yeah, and I also feel like it'll kind of elevate it. Like if you have a competition within a tent, like it adds a kind of like a fantasy, obviously, but it also makes it very like official, like oh, it's circus. So it seems pretty cool. We'll
Yes.
make it happen. Maybe
Mm.
we'll all join together. Who knows?
A whole arts, a pole circus like art show, like just a whole thing
Okay.
plan to the T. Like you're going here, you're flying here. This is the routine, like a circus.
Yeah, it'll be so awesome because there are so many different things that we do. Like, no one can say that they just do pole. Like, that's kind of unheard of. Like, people, they do floor work, they do base work, they do pole sport, they do exact. Like, I could go on forever. And not to mention Lyra and Silks and like all of those are a part of the community as well. So I feel like to eliminate any of that would be kind of taking away from it. But to have a facility that has all of those things would be a circus. Basically, in a nutshell. All right, that was my rant.
Funny.
I love it.
I get so excited.
Yes. Well, I guess, do we have anything else to add about ways that you, as a studio owner or a student or a teacher, can help promote healthy competition?
Oh, goodness, we talked about so much.
Right? I think we covered as much as I wanted to say and more.
Yeah. I mean, I guess just to kind of summarize it, I feel like for me at least, like just be confident in your craft, right? Which is what Chris was saying earlier. And also, Mandy was saying that when we market, there's plenty to go around. Nobody's going to steal any student, or at least, you know, we're not talking about those people. And what was the last thing? Oh, and for me, that if it's meant to be and it's meant for you, nobody can take it from you. But as a community, we're going to all come together as a loving family should. How cheesy am I?
All right. In 10 years, we're gonna be like the pole stars and the pole ancestors that we're looking up to now from overseas.
Hey, Chris, remember when we were doing the podcast? It was all wrinkly.
Oh,
Oh, man. No,
Yes,
another big reason because we got the Botox. What am I talking about? And the fillers.
not me. I'm letting
Hold
it
on.
hang.
Oh, you say that now, okay? But when they start coming in, I'm sure you might feel different. It's okay. She's gonna be the one in the corner with the filter, with the filter that makes her look young, because she doesn't want anybody to know.
Oh my gosh.
gonna be like
Please
Blanche
do.
Devereaux Golden Girls. You put the recording device upside down so it all syncs.
Oh my God,
That's
the
so
golden
funny.
girls, I love it. Oh, that's hilarious. You guys are making my cheeks hurt. Oh boy.
I guess we should open it to the viewers too. If you have any suggestions or anything that's worked for you in your studio or that you can add to this conversation, definitely let us know. We would love to add to it or even have you on to talk about other specific things that maybe we left out today.
That would be
Oh, and I think Mandy kind of mentioned it earlier, but I guess I just want to say it real quick to everybody. If there's something you want to say to your studio owners, or if there's something you see that you don't like, definitely speak up about it because sometimes we just don't know or we're unaware, or tell your instructor. Communication is important for sure.
Right. Sometimes it's hard to communicate. I know this. I'm really bad at it, but yeah, I'm definitely getting better at communicating. Yeah, don't always assume. I do that a lot. I always assume, but you never know until you talk.
Yeah, it's definitely hard. I've learned to think really before I speak. It's important. And take a few deep breaths. Sometimes we're so like emotional about something that we just want to like regurgitate our feelings and they come out all bad. And then you're like,
Yes.
wait, that's not what I meant. Not like the
Yes.
thing that I said is not my goal because you're so like, emotional about it. So I think it's important. And sometimes write it down and read it, and then you're like, oh. I feel that helps for me. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah, that's a really good tip. I use that writing thing all the time. And I'll like write and then I'll wait a day and I'll reread it. And if it's still like something that makes me feel passionate about, I will continue with it. But most of the time I'll delete it. It's over. I just needed to write it down.
Definitely. It's a good way to let it go, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you have anything to promote for the Pole Circus or the Girl Next Door studio?
Oh my goodness, I didn't come prepared to promote. Of course. So we have the Pole Circus. Oh wait, I gotta be all like ringleader-ish. Are we ready? All right, everybody, welcome to the Pole Circus. Our Halloween show is coming up in, guess what? Month of October 2024. Woo, woo. We already have people signing up for it. And of course, I'll give you all the drama. And then we switch over to Girl Next Door. Hi, normal me. And Girl Next Door is in Boca Raton. And we offer chair classes and floor classes. And we're brand new. We have an app. So come check us out. Girl Next Door Fitness.
Love it. Thank you so much. Yes.
My little voice change.
OMG.
Yeah, you have to be like a ringleader, If you're gonna be in a circus, you gotta sell the circus.
Right.
And Pole Circus is one of our nominees for the Pole Awards, so make sure y'all go vote. Competition up there.
Love it. Right. And the nominations are still open. They'll be open until June to nominate in our first round. You can also select new categories, write in new categories for everyone to add, and then that voting will end at the end of the year, right?
The voting starts in the end of June and will end in about October, which will give us time to send out awards and get speeches and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
So exciting. Right, maybe we can do it in person one day, maybe in your big top, and we can do all of it together.
Oh. She's like, the big top, it's gonna happen.
Right, we'll make it like a whole week event.
Does she know how much this is gonna cost? Is she popping up the cash?
We'll have to fundraise.
I'm trying to get a big top just for 3 hours. She's a whole week over here. Like, dang, she made it go. We can all drink, honey. We can all drink.
Yes.
Yes, it's there. Well, it's so nice catching up with you guys. It's always such a blast. Definitely many laughs today too.
Yes. Right.
Thank
I
you.
so appreciate
Uh,
the point of view from, you being a studio owner just beginning as well. Like that's so important because it is a lot. And hopefully this will help other studio owners or prospective studio owners understand how to make things better.
Yes. And I guess just to kind of real quick, nobody realizes how hard it is to have a business. And we all need support. Just saying that. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, right. We're people. We are humans.
Yeah.
We're just doing our
Right.
best.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
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 But thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
I
Yes.
hope to be back soon.
Yes.
And we can't wait
Right. We
to
should.
do workshops down there.
Yes.
Yes, I'll see you in the summer. That's right. Whatever you do, don't forget to like email me or DM me just in case, my brain forgets. So just remind me and we'll make it happen. That way we'll put you
Yes.
in the calendar.
Um,
So
thank y'all.
excited.
I am too. Thank y'all so much for tuning in with the incredible Salis Charming of the pole circus on our episode on healthy competitions in the pole industry. We are Pole on the Call. I am Cris Rivers.
And I'm Mændy Mac.
Oh, yeah.
We lost our shoes.
Yeah.
We're signing
There we
off.
go. Everybody.